you think actually can get done in Congress? As you note, it's broken, but what do you see happening, or are you sort of pessimistic about that? I don't want to end on a pessimistic note.
I'm worried that we might end on a pessimistic note there. So can I just pass on this one? We'll go on to the next question. No, I mean, let's do one more question. But I'll be honest. I think there is a Groundhog Day element to Washington that's existed for a long time, and I think some people need to shout the emperor has no clothes. And by that I mean DC has been dysfunctional for a long time, and yet there is a sort of lobbying insulation around the town that makes it seem like, well, this year, if we get these 3 process steps right, it'll probably work. And it's probably not true. 5 of the 7 richest counties in America now are the suburbs of Washington, D.C., the counties in Maryland and Virginia that ring D.C. Manhattan, San Francisco, and 5 counties that ring D.C. Why is that? A river of money flows to this place, and that isn't the way America is supposed to work. George Washington's farewell address, Eisenhower's call to every American to be a part-time politician. Every American should regard their community as the center of the world, and Washington should be a place for servant leadership to maintain that framework for ordered liberty, but recognize that the real centers of the world are where people work and worship and where they're raising their kids and work and volunteering at the Little League. And so I think we should be straighter about the fact that our systems right now aren't working. I'll name one fact as an example of why I don't think a lot will get done in the next year and a half. Nixon impounded, let's talk about budget for a minute. Nixon impounded a bunch of funds at the end of Watergate. So we kind of forget that history. But the Budget Control Act was passed in 1974. It created a new budget process. We have a 3-step budget process. There is no company in the world, and there is no other government at the state and local level or any other nation on earth that has a 3-step budget process. Most have 2, some have 1, and the migration is from 2-step to 1-step. We have a 3-step process: budgeting, authorizing, appropriating. And it never actually happens. It happened for 4 years, from 74 to 77. And in the 39 years since then, only 4 times have we spent at least 30% of the federal funds via the process. What we do is we wait until 48 hours before the government shuts down every September 30th. We scream, we've got a crisis. We've got 2 choices. We should do 0% or 102%. Let's do everything we did last year with no prioritization and just grow the government a little bit and let entitlements run on autopilot off a cliff and bankrupt our kids. Or let's say we're going to shut down the government. If you had any not-for-profit or small business or big business in America, and the board had to deal with executives that came to them and said, your choice is shut down the company or grow it 2% next year with no prioritization and evaluation of what we did last year, every not-for-profit board and company in America would say, you're all fired. You're a bunch of bozos. And we live in a place where we don't do any of that prioritization, and yet we're acting like, well, maybe this year the appropriations process will work. It's not going to work.